Hello, former director of the FBI, Robert Luskin, and former director of the FBI, Robert James Comey, and reportedly recorded his daughter has roles with New Britain Superior Court and Harper Courts and Connecticut's District Court and the state judicial branch offices with more World Trade Center predicate acts and mass fake transcripts. There's a Paul Zano who sought me out to make it look like he was tied to me. I never had a class with him in my life. Never hung around with him at campus. Paul Zano. There were people trying to pretend other behind my back, and they tried to make in other words, I didn't even communicate with him at Trinity College. He sought me out to non-verbally make confessions, confirmations, and demonstrations. A number of proven child abusers, leaders of kids, years apart, have collusions with him and with his neighbors, with Wethersfield Police Department and Connecticut courts, fabricating transcripts with child offenders, including sexual, medical, foreign and domestic families, overt criminal enterprises, all mixed at the same time, collusions. And they pretend passions and emotions so they could lie about what they think about people's behavior too. All kinds of scams. They're only kidding. How could they speak about law? We have black pupils, whites of eyes. They left out what nature communicates with that, about how a breaching method reassign that. They left it out because they also have it replaced with nature itself communicates about that. A breaching method reassigned with nature communicates. Our founders also communicated about this, but they have that replaced. This breaching method measures and maintains self-guided roles, replacing what our founders communicated for us to communicate about themselves. James Madison is the only founder we know the name of. So, I don't know. Paul Zano sought me out to record, confess, demonstrate, confirm. He has educators involved with sexual and medical offenders of kids. He didn't say that, but he knows that's at least plausible. Involved with people named Puzo. I never had a word of conversation with a Puzo on Route 3, and they have something to do with Trinity College, with people named Collusion, and my other past neighbors have roles with the untimely deaths. But those roles were forced by people involved with the FBI director, Robert Luskin, and people from Afghanistan. This is right through political parties used remotely, criminally foreign influence, tactically, delusions, raw. In other words, John Maiano is also involved with a bunch of people from the Britain Superior Court and Connecticut's District Court, like a Brian Silver is involved with a Rick Ciampaglione and a John Maiano planting evidences on my street with judges and prosecutors, Judge Smith, involved with sexual and medical offenders of kids through his roles, putting fake things in records and hiding and changing what's recorded. They have their family members involved. There's also a Judge Killian involved that way. And with some sexual and medical offenders, leaders of kids forced. All kinds of identity theft, fraud, slanders with people with Harper Hospital, like with the probate court judge, Killian, with digital crimes, changing and faking and hiding rape threats. And the Britain Superior Court has rape threats that were used effectively to force, one of the things used to effectively to force a proven principal child abuser. A police chief, Cintron, in one years ago, have their families and intimate ties involved with the same house /S next to me that Paul Zano sought me out to record, confess, demonstrate, confirm, is involved with them with organized crimes. And their roles with Johnson in Wales and Rhode Island, and with a Luigi Guerrero, also with a Bryant University. He has relatives of his involved with Central Connecticut State University and their educators before and after the World Trade Center attack. The FBI has collusions with Central Connecticut State University with the World Trade Center attack and with other Connecticut campuses. Rick Ciampaglione and others are recorded, confessed, demonstrated, confirmed, involved with people with the courts at Quinnipiac University, involved with sexual and medical offenders of kids, like with a Kevin Harris, is involved with the daughter of a principal I went to a campus with, and he's involved with identity theft, fraud, slander. Like that was reportedly her boyfriend. I never had a personal, I never had a conversation with her. I don't even know her name. Erin Murphy, I believe, is her name. I don't know if they're related to Senator Murphy, but increasingly there are, there's Congressman Larson, people tied to Congressman, conversations with Congressman Larson and or his family. They have collusions like with people named Riley with the Board of Education and people named Domain next to Fox Connecticut News. Fox Connecticut News won't communicate with me, and they're refusing to follow mandated law with proven child abusers, leaders of kids years apart at different cities who have roles with the spots next to Fox Connecticut News and next to WFSB. And these are also the sources of WTNH. And next to them is the FBI. FBI Director Robert Luskin has co-defendants and their family members involved also with the people named Zeno, involved with predicate acts on my street. I never hung around with them. I didn't, in other words, after he has roles with people that live near me with sequence shift, planting evidences, Weathersfield Police, but wire crime acts and methods. They switched names to Weathersfield Police. They've been refusing to get on paper through administrations. They have World Trade Center predicate acts with WFSB. Please get them on paper, one name and sequence. Get the interbranch on paper and the news. Get me out for fake conversations with them. Fear God to keep playing games, making subject treatments when you guys are hiding what's actually recorded. Then you change your fake what's digitally recorded. Facebook has collusions with sexual and medical offenders of kids with the FBI here too. So we're gonna leave that out from these people making allegations, changing and faking what's actually recorded when there's serious things like that. Watch what I caught them doing with Sandy Hook and has all kinds of organized crimes with the kids, including sexual and medical offenders. And there's a prison campus there too. And at Sandy Hook, Newtown, Connecticut, is involved with names like O'Brien and Cololo, intercities and intra-cities, and people with the state judicial branch offices and corrections offices in conjunctions to it. A whole bunch of people recorded, confessed, demonstrated, confirmed. It's involved with them with their roles all along Route 3 and conjunctions to it and to that. One of my neighbors worked at the corner of Route 3 and Elm Street in Rocky Hill, and there are roles with people at the corner of Elm Street and Route 3 in Weathersfield too. And those people, a whole bunch of them from my town, try to make fake exceptions and plant evidences there at that corner from years before Mazzucato Bakery having been there, as their collusions with a police chief Cintron and 1 years ago, and their intimate ties with them on my street and Carriage Hill and Weathersfield. As ones involved intercities and intra-cities in the town lines, but something to do with but since years before, and that's the Mazzucato Bakery is reportedly involved with the daughter of Police Chief Cintron, who's one of the retired police chiefs who through their careers have collusions through his career. He had collusions with the same house /S near me since right through his career. A police chief Cintron, many years he was there. They have roles with other countries and World Trade Center predicate acts with WFSB and with names interstates that were at that were at the Ninth Circuit Court, associated with people with the Ninth Circuit Court, and uses of fake evidences, not just by them though. Everyone's been names on all sides of cases in the courts. They're stealing the Ninth Circuit Court next to the World Trade Center, for example. They stole the identity of the court by inside the court, post-dating documents that had been brought to the court on timely time-stamped. That was proven after the World Trade Center attack. Someone had brought from inside the court, had post-dated the papers to make them look late. Also, names on all sides of that case were involved with predicate acts and against me and with the ones with child abusers, leaders of kids years apart, First Forest. And there are more involved then and now. Certain type of victim / hyper victim that is maintained by everyone, forcing everyone to speak through others, who are all a bunch of fakes incapable of not changing and faking and hiding what's actually the value of what people say. So you guys can't follow, you won't follow mandated law. They can't be called the police or recorded faking phone transcripts. They faked me being at the police station and speaking with them as a kid and as an adult. Has something to do with their roles with names all along Route 3 and conjunctions to it and to that, like the state judicial branch offices. Connecticut's judicial branch offices has roles and had roles with the World Trade Center attack from years before it and with Washington, D.C. and multiple FBI directors, Robert Luskin and James Comey, they have a bunch of collusions with a bunch of people directly and indirectly involved with New Britain Superior Court, also involved with sexual and medical offenders of kids and people that work with elderly homes and roles with untimely deaths years apart, and a house that got involved too at the same time. Like people on Pondside have my name, their recorded capacity demonstrated confirm. They have syntax regarding people knowing each other and who knows whether they're repeating fake things. These are people collusions, repeating things of the investigators, and their roles with the interbranch. They don't care. Get them on paper, one name and sequence. Don't make it personal. Don't make fights between other people. In other words, get me off the fake ties and nature of the ties to the people, the Luigi Guerrero. A bunch of people tied to a Luigi Guerrero. I never had a conversation with. They tried to make it look like I knew him, or put me in a car with him one time. And we went to, in other words, John Miano, too, is one of the ones on Elm Street. A bunch of people on Elm Street in Rocky Hill and Wethersfield have collusions with child abusers, and their educators are involved, intercampuses, intra-cities, and their roles next to the state capitol with the people on my street involved with predicate acts with them. I only know John Miano seeking me out to make confessions. In other words, and this is where and how when people don't tell you the truth, you can still find out the truth and motivations. Their motivations. He got increasingly his educators and coaches have roles with intelligence families, repeating fake things and having people say things to them fake so they can repeat that as their collusion / because there are uses of those fake things relative to where and how they're ignoring me and preventing me writing. And you can't, the Wethersfield police pretended me, I went there and spoke with them as a kid, and I did not. And the kids who did go there and speak with them, they forced them to trick them to collusions with overt criminal enterprises, private ones, identity theft, fraud, slanders, kids from private schools and from other cities involved with identity thefts and frauds with kids from the same campuses and grades and schools that don't even have classes together, don't even know each other, so they could keep cover-ups, self-value, and those details. People are going to leave them out. It's a method that a breaching method showed them to self-value roles with. At Countries A through Z, it showed them how to speak about history, Black pupils. Get them on paper, one name and sequence. Stop playing games.